Here we go. How you doing, mate? How you doing?
Marcio, thank you. Oh man, I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on here. This is cool that you're
Yeah,
doing the YouTube thing. I'm pretty impressed. It's awesome.
yeah, man. It's a pleasure to have you on board. I'm happy to interview you today. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna have some conversations about, you know, basically arm
Yeah,
wrestling, of course.
yeah. No, I
And
just think, like I said, I just want to say I think it's awesome that you're on the YouTube space because um, you are an athlete that's a legend of the sport without a doubt. And so anything you say in this world of YouTube arm wrestling, people are going to want to hear it. So man, I'm just honored to be on here early. Cool.
nice, nice.
Thank you.
It's nice to have you. Uh, Listen, I got a question for you because I know your nickname is Blue.
Yeah, yeah,
Can you tell
yeah.
me where this came from?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Easy, easy, easy. Blue is just because of my red hair. So yeah, I think World War One, any Australian soldier that had red hair, when people didn't know their names, they yelled out, "Hey, Blue!" And so I was in the military, and
Oh,
I was doing a physical training session. I was up the top of a rope tower, and the physical training instructor didn't know what my name was, so he just yelled out, "Hey, Blue!" And it's stuck ever since. So
and
that's
stick
it
with
for me.
you.
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
that's funny.
What about you? What about your nickname? Marcia. Is it
Yeah, it's
Phenom?
the Phenom. It's because I got this nickname. It's funny thing because when I started competing in Arm Wars with Neil Pickup, he started calling me Primal because he
Mm.
asked me a nickname. I was like, no, I don't remember having. But my friend who was pissed with me was like, Marcel, how you say that? I was like, oh, then I forgot. He gave me a nickname as Phenom
Yeah.
in Brazil because I started like I didn't take long to reach the high level, like national
Mm. Mm.
competition. And you know, I just appeared. I was lightweight, and in less than a year, I was a national champion. I was beating. I was 75 kilos, believe it or not. I was 18,
Yeah.
and I was
Yeah.
already beating
See,
top.
I had the same thing that when I was early 20s, I was I couldn't put on weight to save myself. I remember saying to my friends, I just wish I could get to 80 kilos. I just want to get to 80 kilos. And I would eat as much as I could. I would train as hard as I could, and I just eternally stay at 75. But then now I'm 97. So
Wow.
it eventually gets there.
It's eating is good, man. I remember.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I had the same story. Uh, I had the same story. But nice. So that's how you got your nickname, huh? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of people ask me about it. It's not a common nickname among nicknames, I guess, in the sporting world. But yeah, that's where it came from, and I quite like it. It's something. It's like calling a big guy tiny, or a,
Hmm.
or a fat guy skinny, or a skinny guy fat, or whatever. It's just yeah, that sort of thing. But World War One,
How long you been in the sport, Ryan? To
and
my
I
curiosity.
I found the sport in 2013. I think it was
Eight
uh,
years.
yeah, yeah. So I'm just going on 8 years. It was early 2013, so we're pretty much on 8 years now. But I always loved arm wrestling. I grew up arm wrestling with my dad all the time, and being the strongest arm wrestler in the school. And I actually remember one day I came home from school. I think it was in year 11, so just before finishing high school. I came home and I said to my mum, "I had the worst day I've ever had in my life," and she was thinking something really bad had gone wrong. And when she asked what was up, I said, I lost my first ever arm wrestle. I couldn't believe it. It was Jimmy Coleman, and I still to this day I'm waiting for a high school reunion or something just so I can get revenge on Jimmy Coleman.
Wow. I remember it was my you know it's my dad and my mom. They're pretty strong in arm wrestling. I mean, like in a regular table. I
Mm,
remember my mom. I had a uh, uncle. He was like about 90 kilos, and my mom was a little heavy. She was like 5'6" maybe, and she
mm,
was about 185 pounds, a little chubby, but she was
yep.
strong.
Yeah.
My my uncle couldn't beat my mom. I remember,
That's amazing.
and she got a
Did
small
you
hand,
have
and it was
thick
like
wrists or what?
thick wrist and big bicep, but never trained, always home. And it's funny because my sister also arm wrestled. She arm wrestled for like 5 years.
Mm,
She was a state champion and second in nationals for 4 or 5 years straight, but she
mm.
couldn't touch my mom. It's funny though.
There you go.
She couldn't
There
even
you
move my
go.
mom.
So we know who you take after then, eh?
Yeah. My dad too.
Oh,
My dad it was a truck driver. He used to arm wrestle. I never see him losing. I beat him when I was 17 for the first time.
so you grew up arm wrestling in your family? That was a common thing.
Yeah, it was not like arm wrestling. We grab hands like this or this. It was
Yeah,
that kind of bar thing.
yeah,
But it
yeah,
was
yeah.
fun. It was
Yeah.
always
Well,
like,
for me, when I was 12 years old, I made a bet with my dad. I made a $50 bet with my dad. Not that I had $50 to bet with, but I said, "Hey, Dad, $50 on my 18th birthday for whoever wins the arm wrestle." And um, in the lead up to my 18th birthday, we used to have this old bench press um, uh, table set up out in my garage. It had a leg extension on it for training your quads, and
okay.
I used to put my elbow down on the bench press and use that leg extension to train. And anyway, when I got to
Uh-huh.
my 18th birthday, my dad crushed me. I got slaughtered by him. So,
How old you were?
but
18?
I was 18 and he crushed me. But I beat him by the time I was 19. But yeah, dad's just been one of those farmer type manual labor, hand and wrist. Not a lot of bicep, just all hand and wrist. Just
Mm.
flash pin me. So, but it was good fun growing up. That was the kind of thing that we did all the time. I used to play tennis primarily, and I remember being at a tennis tournament one day, and there was these two bodybuilding looking guys there that were
Mhm.
arm wrestling each other, and I was just eavesdropping on this situation, and one guy won, and he was pretty proud of himself, and he was talking up how he'd never lost an arm wrestle.
Oh boy,
And
those
straight away,
guys.
I said, and I was only 14 at the time, but what I didn't volunteer myself. I volunteered my dad. I said, I bet you my dad could beat you. And he was like, yeah, I'll give it a go. And so he wandered over to where my dad was, and my dad looks at this guy and like, geez, Ryan, what are you done to me? This guy's a big bodybuilder. Anyway, they gripped up, and the bodybuilding young guy could not move my dad at all. My dad just sit there and held center like, yeah,
Yeah,
whatever.
strong hand and wrist is always weird. I've seen
Yeah.
those everywhere. I remember one time a friend. I was still in the army. I served the army over there when I was 18, 19 years old, and that's actually I won they had a like Olympic competition for in the
Mm,
army, every type of sport. I had no idea they had arm wrestling, and I was already competing for like a year, almost like a year,
yeah.
and I won the whole thing over there overall. I was like 78 kilos, 79
Yeah.
kilos of
Yeah. There you
beat a
go.
big guy. I think he's a sergeant. He was like
Yep.
100, 200, like 120 kilos, like 6'4", huge.
Mm.
And
I,
everybody was
I, I,
impressed because I beat him so quick.
yeah.
They're like
Yeah.
they never seen anything like it. I'm like,
How on earth did like? It took a long time for me to discover the world of arm wrestling because I found it through the internet eventually. Um,
okay.
but like it didn't exist in Australia in any sort of professional capacity. And how did you actually find the professional side of it? Like when did you make the transition from arm wrestling your friends and family to all of a sudden making a real go of it?
Um, I always liked the sports that I mean. I played soccer before at
Mm,
pretty good level, volleyball stuff like that. But I always liked to get strong. I always doing push-ups, pull-ups on my own. Always watching martial arts, Bruce Lee stuff,
mm,
and always wanted to be competitive at something. A friend of mine, this is a long time ago, probably 30 years ago. I'm getting old. So he invited me to watch him competing at the state tournament, and I'm like, really?
yeah,
He was a very lightweight. I think it was 100 under 130 pounds. Like I think they had 55 kilos or 60 kilos back then. Same thing as the WEF. And I went over there and he took second, like in the state, and he only lost to a guy who was already national champ and was unbeatable for like quite some time.
mm,
And then he we tried to pull after. He couldn't touch me. Then I pulled somebody that he was the guy who discovered me. He's unfortunately he passed away very young. He didn't get to see me,
Mm,
continue.
mm,
But he saw for a few years. He saw me becoming a national champ. Like he discovered me. He brought me to competition, to training, and it was fun. Like, but the thing that gives me a go, it was like one time he brought me to it was to the school, to a school, and they had arm wrestling there. I had no idea. They had a sit down table. It was before stand up. It was sit down table. This is 1991, if I'm not mistaken.
mm.
And the guy was, we were all 17 back then, 17 to 18. And the guy was a school champion or something like that. And he was a defending state junior champion, right? So he didn't even look at my face. He was just holding me like this. He would let me get like 2 inches from the pad, and he was talking, looking the other side, and then he'll bring me back, and I had no idea what I was doing. I was just going straight side pressure, and
Yeah,
I had no idea.
yeah,
He just went
yeah.
with this lock, with the shoulder, and then boom, to the other side. I'm like, oh my god, this hurts, but I had no idea. But that
Yeah, I
gives me
remember.
a drive.
Yeah,
I start going home. It's funny how believe it or not, how I started training on my own. I didn't see my
mhm,
friend for like a month. I was I grabbed like a 4x4, like a wood post, the ones you see in Home Depot and on those
mhm.
stores, like 10 foot high, and I was doing curls, wrist. I was
Nice.
getting a tennis ball and doing grip, and I saw the movie Over the Top. Remember
Yeah,
when Stallone used to grab in the
yeah,
front of the
yeah,
truck and open and coming back? I
yeah.
wrapped some rope around my wrist and I was letting my body go and come back. I kind of did some
Some funky
exercises
stuff.
in my arms like in a month. I measured them like I don't remember how much it was, but it was like normal and it grew like 4 or 5 centimeters, forearms, bicep, just doing that kind
Oh,
of stuff.
wow.
But I was doing it every single day. And I
Yeah.
was
Wait,
going on the top of the house and doing pull-ups. And
and
there
how'd you
is
go?
a
How'd you go after the month once you faced him again?
yeah. I was then yeah. Then I went to see this guy, but in his house, it was a practice.
Hmm.
No, no, no. I think it was more than a. No, my friend saw me a month later, and then he was, "Wow, you got." Then he asked me what did I do, and I told him. Then he was laughing. We
Yeah.
kept practicing. There was a small tournament, like a junior tournament, and I entered. Then I took
Mm,
fifth place, and that guy won, right? And then
mm.
I continued to train. I think it was like 3 months passed since the first time I went to practice with him. He couldn't touch me.
Yeah, that's
It
cool.
was
We had a similar kind of start. My same sort of thing. I lost to an arm wrestle to a guy, and just my competitive nature came out to me that I was like, no, I want to beat this guy, and this is how I discovered the sport professionally because I started looking up arm wrestling technique. I
uh,
wanted to refine my technique, and in the process of doing that, I saw all these videos of yourself and John and Sablenkov, and I was like, what the hell is this? There's an actual sport out there, and but yeah, I did the same thing. I was using own body weight suspended on cables and hand and wrist and pronation and wrist rise and all these things. And the month went by and I gripped up with my mate again and it was all over. Once you got some specific stuff. So,
yeah.
but so
Lucky for you, there
you
was videos, man. There was like in
yeah,
my time, nothing to
well,
see.
you just had over the top. That was it.
That was it. I was
Even but
watching every
even
week.
yeah, even over the top had some pretty good stuff in there, I guess. But a little bit theatrical, but
Yeah, it takes some time for it to develop. Like today, it's everybody's
mm,
trying to be a specialist, but it's not that
mm,
easy. But at least you have material. You have a lot of YouTube channels that you can
mm.
go,
Yeah. Well, we
learn
see
the
that. I see that
basics.
so much. I don't know how your club's going over there, but I know the Brisbane club here. When we have a new guy turn up now, they're already moving well. Like they turn up already knowing the sport. They know what a hook and a top roll press is. They know how to defend. They know what hand control is. They know the fundamentals. And it's like, whoa, these people are starting way better than I started.
Oh yeah,
That's for
it took
sure.
me it took me some. reality is, I know, the thing, I think it was my main weapon back then. It was the speed. I was,
Yeah.
I was always super aggressive, like in a hard hit, but I never trained
Mm.
for it. It just mentally starts, and I just embraced
Yeah.
that. It was just, but my hand was always the thing that I was doing for my hand. It was I was training with the tennis ball hand, which is hard to
Yep.
squeeze. My
Yep.
intention is to squeeze until I threw it
Mm.
blue.
When was your peak, or are you at, when do you consider yourself at your best? Are you at your best now, or was there a time that you think you were better?
Oh my God. It's a hard question because I had injuries in the between. I was very
Mm.
good in early 2000s. It's when I first beat John, I believe. I beat.
Yep.
It was on and off because it depends. I couldn't dedicate myself fully to arm wrestling because when I first came to the States in early 2000s, I start working in like construction stuff. It mess you up a little bit. You get your hands stronger and
Mm.
wrist, but the full training camp and you can't do it. You
Mm.
gotta
Yeah, gotcha.
you gotta listen to your body. And I was still training hard, as hard as I can, but I had injuries because I was competing basically every month. I was going somewhere. I
Yep.
start, you know, having some rivals like Ron. First time I pulled Ron, he pinned me in an Arnold Classic, and he blinked to me. I was like, okay, I will catch
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That was another drive, but then and the next time I pulled him, I beat him. He said he was dropping to 209, and I dropped right behind him. We
Yep.
used to have like a show of the strength from GNC. They used to
Mhm.
sponsor professional tournaments here. It was big tournaments. I was in the same class back then as me, Ron Bath, Todd Hutchings, Mike Solaris, Bill Sinks,
Yeah. Yeah. I
Jim
remember the footage.
Bryan. It
I've
was
seen. I've seen.
huge classes.
I've seen footage from those old tournaments. They're amazing. Like, yeah, it's fascinating seeing the emergence of that North American kind of legends kind of category, which yeah, from right back then there were some amazing battles, and yeah,
Yeah,
I,
no,
I
pretty
love the
much.
long I love the longevity of the sport. What are you, 30 years now in the sport?
Since I started, yes, 30 years, exactly 30 years.
Wow.
Internationally, like 25, but
Yep.
30 years, yeah, since I started. It's a long
My
time.
goodness.
Imagine yourself in that long. It's a
I
long
know.
time.
I hope. I'm certain I will be 30 years in the sport as well. If I try to guess where my peak's going to be, I feel like 5 years from now, I feel like I'll be at the best I've ever been, and I don't know. That might be as high as I get. I feel it. I'll be 40 years old in 5 years, so
Mm.
um,
40 years old, if you do everything right, it's a good age for strength, I think,
yeah,
in
yeah.
arm
I remember
wrestling.
my dad. I remember my dad telling me he felt like he was at his strongest ever in life at 40. So
Mm.
and I just look at the North American greats, and a lot of them seem to peak somewhere around that 40, early 40s zone. I'm like, oh yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that's the goal. I've actually booked a super match with Devin Larratt because he's 10 years older than me. When he's 50 and I'm 40, we've agreed on the super match.
Yeah,
So he
I don't know. I felt good like 2 years ago. I was feeling really good when I pulled Krasimir.
hmm
I was actually, in my opinion, I could have even done better. I have to work until like 4 or 5 days before the match. I feel
mm,
like I had to rest a little more. That was my
mm,
feeling, but you do everything. But I trained really good because my previous season in the WAL, even though I look good, but I didn't dedicate much.
mm.
And then I'm like, I don't want to. I gotta,
What,
I
what
gotta
what's on
game
the
up.
horizon? What's on the horizon for you? Obviously, with COVID, everything got knocked over. WAL season's gone. Are you still under contract with WAL, or are you free to do what you want? Or
Yeah, I was one of the first people they contact after after they stopped doing the tournaments in
Mm.
early the end of 2017 or beginning of 2018 when they were going to start a series. Yeah, there was 5 years contract. Uh,
Mm.
but I don't think WAL. I don't feel like they're not too. They don't they don't make you like you just have you just need to talk to them about it. You know, if you want to do something, go to some tournament. It's about like just
That's cool.
television and
Yeah.
internet basically.
Because I was just wondering if you are going to throw your hat in the ring of Voditor again, or like
Yeah,
105 kilo. There's a top 8 for 105 kilo.
I'm using that T-shirt.
Yeah, no. What I mean, are you in range of 105 kilo?
I'm a little heavier. I'm 110,
Yeah, okay.
110,
Yeah.
111. I
Yeah.
just you don't train as much as you used to. All these COVID restrictions. What are you gonna do? You eat more.
Mm.
But I
Yeah.
was even though when I make 105 back then, I was 109. I make a 105. It
Mm.
was my first time. It was just it was a good experience. My
Mm.
lefty was not really totally recovered. My right was feeling strong. I lost on fouls. I messed up a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I contested the last the guy because the guy who took third, I was flashing him, and then he gave me two fouls. I look at the video, I didn't see nothing. Try to
Mm.
pay the $50 to you know
Yeah. Yeah. You get the review.
yeah to get a review. But from them, but they said over there they're very strict. Like if the two referees agree there was a foul, they don't even see the videos. Like why? I mean, they
Wow.
didn't even get to see.
Yeah. I don't know.
Like really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy. Yeah.
I was
It's hard to get away
disappointed
with it.
because Krasi took first, right?
Yeah.
I have Krasi. I flash an Ukrainian guy, then I flash Yoshikanai. Yoshikanai just
Hmm.
before me, he just beat the guy who won the WAF at 110 kilos. A guy from Russia, I forgot his name. So he Kings moved the guy and beat the guy.
Hmm.
And then he came to me. I remember he said, "Can we go to the straps?" I was like, "No, you have to earn it." And he tried to scrape and grab his fingers, and I put him
Yep.
down really quick. I didn't
Yeah.
get him, let him get to the straps because I knew what he was going to do.
Yeah.
Then I
Yeah. You
get,
don't
I
want to
think I don't know if I got Krasi in the third or fourth match. I was undefeated, and I had two fouls in the hook, but the match was stuck in the middle. I
be.
felt good in there, so he gave me an idea because I see Krasi beating some good guys, and I just I couldn't be so aggressive there. You just have to sit a little bit. You just precautious,
Hmm.
because over
Hmm.
here we use everything you have because the pads are bigger and softer. Over there the
Yeah.
pads are hard. So
Yeah. Well,
any any little thing they will
anything,
see it.
anything. Yeah. I know when my one Bloody Tour experience, it was an eye opener in terms of, yeah, the conditions of the match were very different. The 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 strictness of the no movement in the setup. That was the thing that I struggled with most. I'm so used to Australian, which is very similar to North American style pulling,
Hmm.
where there's a lot of freedom to fight in the grip,
Right.
and there's a lot of load and tension, and then all of a
Uh,
sudden I'm told don't move, and I'm not allowed, and I can't even subtly move anywhere without being told it was going to be fouled. So it was
yes, I was
like real,
scared at some point. I'm like I can't foul. Like
yeah,
you
yeah,
just feel like you can't do everything you want to do. Like you feel like you
yeah,
know.
yeah. You feel like you're not connected. You're like, I'm not. I need to be 20 mils this way, but you can't move. You're already
Hmm.
locked down where you are, and you're just like, ah. So I know
You
for me
gotta
this
train
last,
for it. It's a different
yeah,
setup. It's
this
everything's
this last,
different. I mean, I've done it, but just by being so long without doing it, I
mm,
felt a little bit.
yeah. Well, this last 12 months for me has been the focus on trying to become ready for that environment again. I want to compete in those World Tour again,
It's pretty
um,
good.
and so I've been training ref scripts, no movement, and just center table strength, just being able to go hard
Hmm.
right from the center,
If
even when your hand doesn't feel necessarily secure, but just trusting it and going anyway. So,
yeah, I remember Ingen Thursday when I lost for five, like I lost to Krasi, and then I pull another Russian, and I flash him. Then they said elbow fall. I'm like, okay, so I took my time. I just opened him. He was not a problem, but
Mm.
then I opened him. Then I pinned him. Then they said elbow foul. I was like, what? How?
Kidding me.
I didn't go fast. I like I secured my position and I put him down.
Yeah, yeah,
The guy
yeah,
took third place, so I could be in the top three. And then I took eight,
yeah,
I think seven or eighth place. I'm like, my goodness.
yeah. That's annoying.
And you come from so long. That's the thing, though. You travel so long when something could
Yeah,
not go your
yeah.
way. If you get pinned, you got pinned. But it's just
But when you to travel all that way, lose on fouls when it wasn't, when it's debatable whether there was a foul, it's not good. It's the one thing I dislike most about the rigid rules setup. I much prefer running elbow fouls.
so much better.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
I'm
don't
happy
stop
with
the
the strict
match.
starts, but running elbow fouls makes a big difference. It's just criminal to lose a match on a nonsense elbow foul that's not even there. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I
Anyway,
think at least they used to give like once it goes to the ref grip you can move, but they used to give you one warning. They used to give it I don't know how it is right now. There used to be one warning, two warnings equals a foul, right?
mm,
But then you
mm,
start over, and
mm, mm.
but over there if it's a ref grip, it's a set grip, you can't move. You got to foul right away,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's rough, man. Ryan, let me ask you, uh, when do you think you reach your because I know you said you started 2013,
Mm.
and I noticed like your level went up, you know, even when you came over here. Remember New York?
Yeah, yeah,
That's 3 years ago, right? Something like
yeah.
that.
That was 2018 that it was we met in New York. Yeah,
Yeah, 2.5 years. Yeah,
yeah. And my level since then, yeah, jumped
yeah,
up
you
again.
progress.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I've gone through a few chapters. I mean, the first 4 years was there was not really any international experience. It was just myself. I had the pleasure of having Devin Larratt visit a couple of times, so I got to learn from him, and I really took note of the direction that he kind of recommended to me at the time. I got a lot of table time. I was lucky enough to have Jordan Davis live local to me, and we arm wrestled most days of the week, probably averaging 5-6 days a week for a number of years. So, and we really took an approach of understanding the technique as opposed to trying to just get strong. So we're very, very technical sort of arm wrestling. Um, but then I had my match with Justin Bishop 2017, and that was
I saw that match.
my first exposure to the international standard, and that my hand did fine in that match. I felt balanced with Justin in the hand, and maybe even slightly ahead on the hand. But it was so clear to me after that match that I didn't have side pressure. I didn't have sufficient back pressure.
It looks like
And
you pronate, but you lose like this, right?
yeah, yeah, that's it. I got the pronation set, but then my arm just opened.
Hmm.
So after that match, I was like, all right, I need side pressure, and I just went and started training ugly side pressure in the gym, and then 2000. So that for about a year, I was training like that. Um, 2018 was when I got the opportunity to pull bottom eight, and
I
and I
remember
got
that.
to yeah, and that was a really big year. That was a year where I stepped up in terms of I think my table ability. Beating Evan Burgoyne, no one in the room expected me to do that. People were thinking Chris Gobby was going to beat me that day, but I beat
Yeah.
Evan, and yeah, that was kind of awesome. And then I got the invite to WAL, and then
Hmm.
and I spent a year training under the guidance of Todd Hutchins, which really changed a lot in terms of my elbow conditioning. And it got to the point where I honestly think my side pressure is better than most of my opponents that I face these days. Um,
Hmm.
it's actually become I think my biggest weapon is my ability to just lean on my elbow and trust that it's going to stand up better than my opponents. And
Yeah.
um,
I called
so
Todd I think last year I was doing in the middle of the pandemics. I was having elbow problems, like doing nothing, and then he told me about the GM press that he was doing.
JM presses, yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's pretty
They're
good
really good.
though.
I do them almost every session in the gym. I hit JM presses just because as a preventative, it seems to be so good on that tendon right in the elbow that with all the common flexors from the forearm and whatnot. But um, yeah, and then this continuing to answering the question on the evolution of kind of my level. When I met you, I pulled Dan Mosier that time, and I lost 6-0 to Dan. It wasn't a bad 6-0. I was kind of close, but just not enough to get a genuine round anywhere. But then since then, I've had a run of 10 victories, 0 losses in super matches since then. So and it's been some really good matches. I've been really happy. My last one was Chance Shaw, who he's doing his own big thing at the moment, moving up nicely. But I feel like my game's got to the level now where the version of me that beat Alan Guerra at WAL 504, I'm certain that I would crush that version if I was to face myself. It's night and day now. Just
It
commend.
was a good exhibition. Anyways, it was a good
Yeah, man,
match.
I had such a blast there. That was an absolute thrill. Having John in my corner as well. Oh my goodness, I felt like I couldn't lose with John in my, my corner. Like
Like, okay, I
John
can't
did.
lose now.
Yeah, John didn't say that much to me. He didn't really guide me technically or anything. He just gave me
He's
the nod,
just
like
there for you.
you got this. Yeah, he just said you got it, and gave me the confidence to know that I could. And oh man, it changed everything. So yeah, that was awesome. That was really the moment where I kind of got my foot in the door of the professional scene properly.
Hmm.
And even
Oh,
though I haven't had the chance to pull again, I mean, I was going to pull Brandon Lemon and Mulvill Hill in
hmm.
601, which COVID killed. So I haven't, even though I haven't pulled that again, I feel like my training year this year during COVID has been the best training year I've had. I feel like I may well be the #1 rank in Australia. I just haven't had the chance to prove it. I know Lachlan Adair's probably going to disagree with me on that, but I know I'm at worst I'm ranked 4 in Australia on the overalls list right now, and I honestly think I can knock off the guys above us.
who's first, Lachlan?
Well, it's again we haven't had the matches, so
Uh-huh.
in popular opinion, it's between Lachlan, Ryan Scott, and Ben Carroll.
Hmm.
They're the 3 guys. They're all super heavyweights. Ryan Scott is officially ranked #1, but it's been 2 years since he's had to defend it, and
Hmm.
so much has happened since then. Lachlan Adair, I think, has trained harder than any one of those 3 guys more consistently. So I feel like he's the man. But Ben Carroll finished 5th at the Zloty Tour in
I saw
2019
that.
in the super heavy. So he's legit. He's really legit. Um, so yeah, we need to find out. So hopefully we get the chance soon. I know Lachlan's trying to arrange super matches with those guys at the moment, and it's wait and
You
see.
guys pretend to do any event this year in Australia?
We have the over the top 2 in November. Ten
Oh,
thousand.
that's talk about a little
Yeah,
bit about that. I heard something about it.
yeah. There's a $10,000 prize in the overall division.
Hmm.
So it's the same format as the 1987 tournament, where there is a weight class. There's a pro division for each weight class where there'll be prize money, but the biggest prize money is in the overall division. So you got to decide whether you want to compete in your weight category and the overalls, or just save yourself for the overalls. Because
Hmm.
yeah, but
So
if
just the overall is 10,000,
10,000 for the right arm, yep,
right arm.
yeah,
Pretty
yeah.
cool.
I know Devin Larratt has said that he intends to come down for it. So Ryan Espy has also said he wants to come. Hopefully a few more, but
Hmm.
that'll be cool. That's the only thing we've got booked for this year.
Let me mention this. Ryan Aspie just called me out today, left arm.
No, really. Nice.
He
Yeah.
called me out in the morning. I answered in the afternoon. Like, okay.
Yeah, gold. Go. Well, now
How
you've got
it
a
goes, I
YouTube
don't
channel.
know.
Put your response out on your YouTube channel. It's the best place for it.
I put it. I just put it right when I got to work from work. I just saw
Oh,
it. I was like,
perfect.
okay, and respond. I was like, let's see. Need to get some sponsors, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
some
That's awesome.
promoters out there, and then make it happen.
So
Because
how am I going to go? How am I going to go against Rob? You know Rob a lot better than me.
yeah, I want you to talk a little bit about how this thing came, but yeah, Rob is he got a lot of tools. He's a guy gifted with a lot of genetics, you know, towards arm wrestling, like big hand,
Mm,
strong
mm,
arm. He got everything, upper body,
yeah.
and you know, he's been on the top. Just, oh, I think only Todd Hutchins beat him in light
Mm,
heavyweight division or middleweight. I don't call
mm.
middleweight because it's like what 205, 210, I think the class.
Yeah, 200, 200 to 10. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's light heavy, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
only Hutchins, but they both of them can compete in heavyweights and
Mm,
do it right.
mm,
I mean, Rob has been in the past like you know heavier like 225 or something.
mm, mm.
Uh,
Yeah,
I've but yeah, he did all right.
it's an
But it's hard
interesting
to beat
match.
everybody. Who,
Yeah. Rob's an interesting match for me. It's something that um I really love the opportunity to have a go at. It's always been the best way for me to progress is continually pull with guys that are better and better calibers. So this is just a
hmm
natural progression for me. I mean, I've pulled and beat Dan Mosier, who I think is very similar level. Um,
Yeah,
I don't.
it's very good.
At the end of the day, I don't fear Rob as much as other people think I should. I can see and identify pretty clearly what his weapons are that are superior to mine. And clearly, if I tried to top roll that guy with a low hand top roll, I would get crushed. His
It's
hand,
good
his
in
back pressure.
containing. It's good
Yeah.
in
So
containing.
like I think a lot of people don't recognize that I see that clearly and that I'm not going to try to do that to Rob. And I'm happy to tell Rob that I'm not going to try to do that to Rob. Um, I know, I think I have a set of tools that are better than Rob's. And if I can get it to that position, I think that I can win. And so it's just, the question for me is more so, can I get it to that position as opposed to can I win once there? So
hmm
I think at the end of the day, I think I have a better elbow than Rob in terms of side pressure. I think if we're supinated and we're in the strap and and we're deep inside, so his pronation is no longer really that relevant. I feel like he can't pin me there, and I feel like I'll win the long game and technically just pick him apart bit by bit as he looks for an opportunity. So that's kind of where I want the match to go, and that for me really came from I've had the chance to pull a lot with John um, in just a practice sense. And when I've asked John about Rob, he said to me that, look, yeah, Rob's hand is going to feel very similar to John, to
Yes.
his own hand. And but when I pull with John, I know that if it's in that position that I want to get to with RVJ, I know that John can't pin me there either. So fully supinated in the straps with it about side pressure, I feel pretty safe. So um, and so John for me has always just said, yeah, well, you get the match to here, I think you'll beat RVJ. But so, and I believe that I believe it when I hear it from John. But and the good thing is Rob to me isn't as he's not as dangerous as John because he's not fast like John was. So I feel like the chance of getting to that position is better because I think I can be pretty quick if I need to be. So uh, yeah, that's kind of how I see it going. I don't know. A lot of
But let
people,
me ask,
a lot of
how this came out? I mean, I just when I heard it was like, oh, there's a
mm.
50K super match between Rob and Ryan. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, it came about in a funny way. It wasn't really it wasn't planned in any sense. It just what happened was the WAL they posted on their Instagram a photo of Rob and asked the question, who should pull
I
Rob in
saw that.
2021? And my name got tagged quite a number of times by just followers of the World Arm Wrestling League. And when I saw that happening, I created a video on YouTube saying, "Hey, look, yeah, I'm ready. If you want me to pull Rob, I'm ready anytime. I'm keen. And so after that, Rob kind of put in kind of a casual, sort of nonchalant response out, like, yeah, okay, cool, that's great, not really interested, yada yada yada. Um, and then there was another bit of fuel added to the fire when we were doing. You saw those strict curls, and
Oh,
Rob,
okay.
Rob is a killer on strict curls, and I can't strict curl anywhere near the numbers Rob can. And anyway, I put a video out there, and Rob really got upset and picked apart my technique on my curl, and it made me laugh at the time. And so then the conversation just kept on going. So Robin and I were back and forth with a bit of trash talk in general, and then Rob just came out of nowhere and said, "Look, if you want this match to happen, 50K and drug tested is the requirements. You achieve that, you can have the match." And so I think Rob said that initially thinking that that would just be a deterrent and that I would go away. But I saw it as okay, there's an opportunity, and and set the wheels in motion to generate that, and through third party sponsors and whatnot. And here we are. We're now in a point where we've agreed in principle on a match. It's hard to set dates and locations because of COVID, but we've agreed in principle, and we're working towards that 50K match.
Impressive. When is supposed to be in it?
We're aiming for like September this year.
Okay.
We'd love it to be under the Arm Wars banner. Neil Pickup has said that he'd be willing to accommodate that. And Neil's helping with the background.
Under the same rules of arm bars?
Yeah, it would be Arm Wars rules. So running fouls, all that sort of stuff. Except there's no 3-all. Given that there's money on the line to that degree, we have to have a winner. So Rob and I are kind of debating at the moment. Rob just wants a 7th round, where I want to have you got to win by 2. So we'll sort that out. I like the win by 2 because I don't like a buckle or a referee or a particular side of the table to be the determining factor, which I've seen plenty of times before. So I like to have to win by 2 if it gets to 3-all. So just keep going. Yeah, so that's kind of the story of it. I hope it does happen. Like I said, the biggest hurdle is COVID. There's in planning the Arm Wars event, like it's planned in theory, but at the moment the UK is, for instance, you're not allowed to go and knock on your neighbour's door, kind of thing. They're in full lockdown, and the world is still up in air as to how that comes about. So we just have to wait and see in some respects, and we'll go from there.
Maybe you're doing Dubai. Everybody's going
Dubai, yeah. Dubai is the hot spot, isn't it? Everyone's going there.
Neutral ground.
Yeah, no, I agree. What Larry's doing to the sport at the moment is amazing. He's bringing so much attention to the world of arm wrestling, and man, it's good. And all the world's arm wrestlers are flocking there to be part of it.
It's funny though. Now I saw Aramis and Derek went there, and now who's going there? Gennady, I think.
Yeah, Gennady's going there. I think Vitaly Lalesin is there at the moment.
there already.
Derek Smith's there. Devin's been there. Michael's been there. Coach Raymond Jalapins has been there.
I hope he's still liking it and doesn't get upset. There's one after another.
I think he genuinely loves the sport. Yeah, I've heard. I didn't see the video, but I swear I've heard it secondhand or whatever that Larry has indicated that he wants to be the #1 arm wrestler in North America. That's his goal. So that's a big goal. And Larry's the kind of guy that has proven that he can do it in multiple disciplines. So I don't think strength is not his issue. He's just got to learn how to use it and
put everything together.
And if he
looks like
he'll do it. I think he will. I think he'll put it together, and I think he will become a genuine arm wrestler. And that's awesome. Oh yeah.
I just think he's processing so much information right now. It's so many styles, so many different guys. Somebody can say, do this. I feel like the other guy do that.
I feel like he needs to go and compete. He needs to not just have training pools with all these guys, but he needs to go and have a tournament just to feel. Just to feel, oh, okay, this is what made me lose in this tournament. Let's go fill that hole.
Just don't know when can he have a competition, like a tournament, a regular tournament.
Yeah.
I mean, North America, we've been having, like, here and there. They
Yeah,
just had a big
yeah, it's
tournament
hard.
in
It's hard.
Alabama. Looks
I,
cool.
I don't I don't know if Dubai has the numbers to put on a tournament down there or not, but yeah, I don't know. But it'll be interesting to see wherever he does travel. Hopefully, he comes to the over the top two in November. That'll be
Mm.
good.
Yeah, yeah. For him to
Uh,
get experience, he needs to go like every 2 months at least and
mm,
keep going.
yeah. Well, it was
It's
for me the
different.
biggest thing. When I started in the sport, it's really cool because the Australian Arm Wrestling Federation has a website that tracks the Australian rankings, and they
Mm.
track the stats of every single match that's ever happened. So I know exactly how many matches I've had in the history of the sport in Australia. And when I joined the sport, my goal was to just have more official starts than anyone else in the country. I thought that would be the best way to progress, and I achieved that every single year in the sport. I've been I've had more official starts than anyone else, and subsequently I've also had more losses than anyone else in Australian history as well. But here we are. So I agree totally that get as many official starts as you can.
Yeah, but I
I
admire your spirit because you didn't care about losses. Just some people are too
mm,
ego, you know, and
yeah
they don't learn. You gotta go put yourself out there,
yeah
take the wins,
I
take the
will
losses, whatever.
exactly that was the mindset that I carried into the sport. I said to myself, at the time, I guessed. I said there might be 1,000 losses between being a novice and being a world champ.
Hmm.
So, so if that is the case, go and rack those 1,000 up as fast as you can. And honestly, Marcio, if I look at my stats in the Australian arm wrestling scene now, I think I've had off the top of my head, it's like something like 254 losses is what
Wow.
I've had.
Yeah, are you
So
counting them?
yeah, yeah, the website counts them for me. So
Oh,
um,
okay.
yeah, but I've had like
Yeah, interesting.
254 losses. So maybe the thousand's right. Maybe by the time I get to 1,000 losses, I'll be the world champ. We'll see.
Yeah, it take 1,000 loss. No, it take a lot of losses, of course,
It's
for you to reach
mm.
what you
the,
want in the
the good
sport.
thing is the good thing is it's getting harder to find the losses.
Hmm.
I can't find losses in my weight division in Australia anymore. I have to. There's only 3 guys that can beat me now in the country, and they're all supers. And then
Hmm.
if I look within my weight division, I have to go international to find losses now. So I'm gonna keep looking for these losses till I just can't find them anymore.
What is your goal, Ryan? Like, as an tell me about what is your goal as an arm wrestler and
Okay.
also as a promoter? Because I.
Yeah, they are two very interesting categories, and I do have separate goals for each of them. When I started 8 years ago, these goals were formed straight away, and they still stick true to this day. Um, my arm wrestling goal, oh, actually, my arm wrestling goal has grown over the years. My very first arm wrestling goal was just to become the Australian national champion, which I've achieved now and done that. So my current goal is I want to be a lifetime arm wrestler, and I want to end up being recognized as one of the all-time greats in the sport. I want to win a world title in my weight category, and then I want to climb the overall ranks. I think that I'll end up being a similar weight to yourself. Um, I think 5, 10 years from now, I'm walking around at 110. I'm 97 kilos right now, and I tend to put on 2 to 3 kilos a year with training. So
As
I
you get
think that
older, you come.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
You
don't
get
have to do
older, it
much.
gets easier to put on weight. So I think that for me as an arm wrestler, my goal is to win a couple of world titles, um, and go down as one of the greatest of all time. And I'd ultimately love to be in the debate. I'd love to be in the debate of could Peak Ryan have beaten Peak John? I'd love for fans of the sport to ask that question. And I know I'm a long way from that yet, but that's where I'd like to end up. And ultimately, I'd like to be 80 years old, arm wrestling my great grandchildren and still being able to beat them all.
That's pretty cool.
And then as a promoter, um, that side of the goals is really really important to me as well. I started in that on that journey just wanting to make a career of arm wrestling, and I recognized that there wasn't prize money or sufficient money in the sport to just be an arm wrestler and get paid for it. So I started a business and I started moving that direction. And for me, the goal as a promoter is not to create a league or to do anything in particular. I just want to be able to facilitate uh, as many arm wrestlers as possible to be able to call this a career. So I want to, through content sponsorships, through athlete sponsorships, through to growing my own brand, through pound for pound arm wrestling equipment and whatnot. I just want to be able to empower as many people as possible to be able to call arm wrestling a career. So we're taking steps towards that at the moment. So I know pound for pound arm wrestling is sponsoring, top of my head, about 5 or 6 different YouTube channels, a bunch of athletes for travel and whatnot, and it's moving in the right direction. We're getting more and more support. So for me as a promoter, it's just to facilitate as many people to have it as a career as possible.
That's nice. Um, yeah, the sport has been growing. I think this time with the in time like this, like in crisis, right? That we're living with the pandemic time. I think the YouTube channels grew like
Oh,
a lot more information, a
massively.
lot of people doing more videos, like
Yeah,
yourself.
and
You grew
the
like so
money's
many people,
the
Ray.
money's real. Dude, the money is real in YouTube. For anyone who, I mean, a lot of people look at it because they can see that the money is real there, but it is a real exponential sort of situation. There's a long, patient period of hard work that you need to put in on YouTube, but if you get through that and you come out the other side, and you get your channel to a degree where it can go, like you look at the likes of Larry and Arm Wrestling TV, and Devin is very much on the path to being in that category as well. But there's more money there than arm wrestlers can imagine, in terms of like way beyond what any WAL, PAL has ever offered any athlete in the history of the sport. Like once you're at the million subscriber mark, you're talking kind of like somewhere between $50,000 and $100,000 per month revenue
Wow,
from YouTube. So
that's a big
that's what it
career.
means to. It is. So if you can get to that million subscriber mark, money's huge, and for me, that's a big part of the goal for me as my YouTube channel grows. Is that just proportionately as the channel grows, I get to sponsor more other YouTube channels and more content creators and more athletes. So it's exciting, yeah, seeing the way that YouTube has evolved the sport. And yeah, during COVID, it's been a fantastic opportunity, given that WAL and PAL have not been able to offer a season.
Yeah, what's your thoughts about? I post something on my YouTube about the match of Levon and Michael, talking about this PAL WAL hard. I mean, I think there's a lot of opportunities for them to make money. Everybody could make money.
Mm.
My suggestion when I did the video was like, why they don't get together in this bet and make a pay per view where everybody can make money from that. And
Yeah,
it's a way to
it's kind of just
promote,
yeah.
and every
I,
party gets a piece, you know.
Absolutely, I agree. It was a bit disappointing the way that it was handled. I think that retrospectively, a number of parties could have potentially done it better, particularly the PAL. I think they shut it down and were quite negative in the way that they did it. They kind of talked down on Michael. They talked down on North American Arm Wrestling and the WAL, and it didn't look good the way they went about it. They really missed the mark. As you said, there was an opportunity for them to host an exhibition match outside of their top 8 season, outside of the WAL season, where everyone could have made money.
It's just separated. It has nothing to
Yeah,
do with top 8 or WL. It's something
exactly.
separate. And the
Yeah,
opportunity, like in crisis, you always have opportunity to do something different. So this would be something that all the community were looking for, like
yeah,
something to get arm wrestling attention again, and maybe
yeah,
get more people involved.
100%. They really did miss that chance, and I feel like it was a bit of pride was on the line. I don't know why.
Maybe yeah.
I just don't know why. I don't know why PAL wasn't willing to do it. It really doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, hopefully it does happen. It's a match that I feel like if we never see that match in the history of the sport, it'll be a big letdown because
Yeah.
my
I hope it does happen.
yeah,
They're probably
because I
working
mean,
on it.
undoubtedly Levon is the man from that region of the world, but you can't even if Levon is the favorite, you still can't just 100% say that he will beat Michael Todd. You just can't. And I mean, you know what it's like to grip Michael Todd. So, yeah, Michael Todd is a dude that is just hard to kill, really hard to kill. And and it would have been a great story of the East versus West.
Yeah,
It's
it's more in that category, not like who's the world champion. It's just get the East versus West and just make some
yeah,
excitement. You know,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think
No, I'm
everybody
with
will
you.
love it. And I said,
I
and
think
I even
I think
I put in a video like everybody will pay. Like you don't have to put nothing crazy, but everybody put I don't know $10, $20. I mean,
mm, yeah,
it's
we'd
gonna
all
be good
pay it.
for everybody.
We'd all happily pay. And but in this day, I don't even think they needed to do a pay per view. I know Igor has done pay per views in the past, but honestly, when
He always does it with Zalati, I think.
you've got the big YouTube channels out there now. If you went live on Larry Wheel's YouTube channel with that match, the revenue
Oh,
that
a
would
lot of
generate,
millions.
yeah, and you could sell a lot to third party sponsors, knowing that these 1.5 million subscribers are all going to tune in to watch that match, and they would, they would tune in. We'd all tune in, and it'd be huge. But anyway, I hope it happens. I don't think it's going to anytime soon, but I hope it does eventually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see. Do you see Gennady going on board and try to get a match with
Yeah.
Michael?
Yeah. That's I take my hat off to Gennady, and I think it's cool that he's going down that path. He's not contracted anywhere, and he's got his own
Yeah.
YouTube channel now. So, and Gennady's a killer. Undoubtedly, he's a killer. But it's not the right match for Michael to take. However, because I mean, it's a big risk. If Michael did take that match, he loses the opportunity to pull the barn. And
Yeah.
Gennady's a dangerous guy for Michael. He's the
Hmm.
kind of puller that could
It's
potentially
very
get
technical.
around Michael. Yeah, so it's a tough one, but if like part of me wants Michael to do it, I hope Michael does that. If given that Levan won't be released, it'd be cool if Michael did pull Gennady and beat Gennady, and then it leaves no doubt. Then it's like, well, come on, I've beaten Gennady now.
Hmm.
Let's do it. But I don't know. It probably
But
won't happen
I
either.
mean, but if nothing happened, probably why not, right?
Mm,
It'll be something
yeah,
crazy, something cool too to watch. I think it's
yeah,
gonna get a lot of people attention. Gennady just
yeah,
don't have the same hand strength that
yeah,
Levan possesses, and that's good for
yeah. That's it.
Michael. Even though
Yeah,
Gennady can get, it's more technical.
yeah.
Used to be a
He's
very good
technical and
middleweight
fast.
before
Yeah,
he gained a lot of weight.
yeah, yeah. Gennadi's a character too. What I love about Gennady is that man, that dude fires up and entertainment plus on the table. So
Yeah,
I think, yeah.
it was always
Anyway,
a little crazy like that. I've been watching him a long
have you
time.
pulled Gennady?
No, I never pulled Gennady. I think
Mm,
I pull a lot of people, but I don't think I ever pulled Gennady. I
okay.
would know if I ever pulled him because he was middleweight for a while. He was 90 kilos, then 100 kilos, 110, then supers.
Yeah.
But by the time he achieved that high level, I wasn't pulling WAF anymore.
Yep.
I I wanted to pull like WAF, but when I was back in Brazil, I just wanted to be a world champion, and I won 5 world titles, and I took maybe 3 4 seconds, a few thirds, and I stopped. And then when I came here, I wanted to compete in the pro leagues. I wanted to see what it's like
Yeah.
to pull Brazil, Rombat. Those are
Yeah.
one of my 2 goals when I came here, just to see loser. I mean, I thought I was gonna lose, but once I feel like okay, if I train a little more, maybe I can
Yeah.
go
No.
and pursue those guys.
Hey Marcio, I'm gonna have to wrap it up pretty soon. I gotta get going. But I want to ask
Hmm.
you, what are your goals now? After 30 years in the sport, what are they now?
Well, I'm just going with the flow, and you know, when I have so many years, like I was supposed to pull Hermes Gasparini if you ever go back internationally, but I
Hmm.
that was a big goal for me because I'll be underdog. The way he's very famous, he's very dangerous guy, world champion
Hmm.
also, and
Hmm.
he's been in the media. Um, it'd be a good match. It'd be a good match for me to train for. But
Yeah.
I'm going step by step. You know, I had a lot of injuries, like I said. Um, would love to pull a few guys. Would love to pull Todd Hutchins again. I would love to
Mm.
pull. I was more in WAL. I was more to pull anybody internationally, anybody from Europe. So I pulled
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Grazi. I think I was gonna pull Hermes, but then uh, or who else is coming? That comes
Mm.
from Europe. I don't know. Now everything
Yeah, Tina.
it's down a little bit, so I'm not sure what comes up. You know,
Yeah, that's
we'll
tricky.
see.
Well, you're doing the right thing by getting this YouTube channel up and
Mm.
running. This
We'll see
this
if we
will this
can
will bring you.
we can bring some match up for the
Yeah.
near future.
And I know I've said it to you before, but I think at some point the stars will align and we'll get you down to Australia. Maybe
That'll
over
be
the
cool.
top too. You're one of the people, like I said, looking at the Australian scene. We naturally are big fans of all the greats out of North America, and you're definitely one of them, man. So it'd be an honor to have you down here.
Thank you. It'll be an honor to be there. And
Yeah.
I don't know Australia, so it'll be nice.
No, it's good. There's plenty to see.
All right, Ryan. I'll let you go. It was nice to have you, man. Nice
Man, thank you
talking.
so thank you so much, man, and all the best.
All right.
All right, see you, man.
Take care.